You've read enough. You know what to do. The problem is you keep reading, not because you're lazy, because you've built something more sophisticated than laziness, a system that disguises preparation as progress. Every book, podcast, and course feels like movement. The feeling is real. The terrain doesn't change. This is the pattern nobody talks about, because it looks like growth from the outside. You're always consuming something, always learning, always one resource away from being ready. And the people who sell knowledge, the content industry, the course platforms, the self-development market, have no incentive to tell you that the knowledge they're selling you is becoming a substitute for the action that would actually change your life. James had been at this for 4 years. Notebooks full of frameworks, a podcast queue longer than he could ever finish, highlights in 17 books. He knew about cognitive biases, habit stacking, identity-based change, the compound effect, deep work, and a dozen other frameworks that were supposed to make him more effective. He wasn't more effective. He was more informed about why he wasn't more effective. That's the trap. The knowledge about the pattern doesn't break the pattern. It makes you a sophisticated observer of your own paralysis, which is just paralysis with better vocabulary. James worked in a stable government role, safe salary, predictable schedule, low-stakes environment. Exactly the kind of context where the wrong relationship with action can calcify for years without external pressure to force a correction. Because without pressure, the brain defaults to the known. And the known was consuming content. The known was being almost ready. The known was the feeling of progress without the friction of actual execution. The night it changed wasn't dramatic. James had just finished a book about procrastination, his 4th book on procrastination, and he noticed something in the acknowledgments. The author thanked the people who had given feedback on early drafts, people who had read the book before it was finished, who had engaged with incomplete thinking. James couldn't remember the last time he had done something incomplete in public. Everything he put energy into was either internal, thinking, reading, planning, or complete before anyone saw it. He had optimized out all the friction of showing incomplete work, and in doing so, he had optimized out the learning that only comes from the real world's feedback on incomplete things. He couldn't remember when this had started, but he could see, clearly, that it had been going for a long time. Here's what I built for exactly this point in the process, when you can see the pattern, but haven't yet built the habit of breaking it. It's called the Free Your Mind Kit. The ebook maps the 4 sabotage mechanisms with clinical precision. The daily performance dashboard converts what you know into daily concrete behavior. No app, no login, opens directly in your browser, and the audio track works at the layer where habits actually live, where rational knowledge can't reach alone. $9. Lifetime access. No subscription. The link is in the description. Back to James. He started with one rule. Not a system, not a plan. One rule. This week, there is one thing I do that is visible, incomplete, and real. He wrote a short piece about something he had learned from his work, published it on LinkedIn. It was imperfect. He knew it was imperfect. He published it anyway. The response wasn't life-changing. A few people read it. 2 commented with something useful. 1 pointed out an error he hadn't caught. But what it gave him couldn't have come from any book. It gave him evidence that acting before being fully ready was survivable, that the world didn't collapse under the weight of imperfection, that the gap between knowing and doing was crossable, and that crossing it gave information no amount of preparation could have provided. He did it again the following week, and the week after. The books didn't stop, but their role changed. He read to answer questions the action had raised, not to prepare for action that hadn't started. Learning became downstream of doing, not upstream. That inversion changed everything. Not immediately, not dramatically, but in the way that matters, sustainably. The pattern shifted at the level where patterns actually live, in repeated behavior, not in single moments of insight. James still has the government job, still has the stable salary, but his relationship with his own capacity to act has been rewritten by evidence, not by intention. The evidence says, I can move before I'm ready. The world responds. I adjust. I move again. That's the only framework that actually breaks the wrong relationship with action. You already know this. The question is whether you'll do something with it before opening the next resource. Comment execute below if this reached what it needed to reach. If what you heard here made sense, the Free Your Mind kit goes deeper. The link is in the description. Subscribe. Untamed Mind doesn't deliver motivation. It delivers precision about the patterns holding you back and the system for breaking them. There is one more layer to this that James discovered in his second year of acting before being fully ready. The identity shift that happens not from insight, but from accumulated evidence. The wrong relationship with action is built on an identity. I am someone who prepares thoroughly before acting. This identity feels virtuous. It feels responsible. It feels intelligent. And it is in small doses. The problem is when it becomes the dominant mode, the default, the response to every situation that requires something new. Shifting this identity doesn't happen by deciding to be someone who acts decisively. Decisions about identity don't stick without evidence to support them. What sticks is behavior repeated until the brain updates its model of who you are. James repeated the behavior of acting before fully ready for 12 months. One visible, incomplete action per week, not always comfortable, not always successful, but consistent. And at month 12, something had changed that he couldn't have manufactured by intention alone. He no longer felt like someone who was fighting his natural tendency toward over-preparation. He felt like someone for whom acting before certainty was the natural response. The identity had updated, not because he willed it to, because the evidence, 12 months of it, made any other story unsupportable. This is the real work, not the single act of courage that motivational content promises, the sustained repetition that makes courage unnecessary because acting has become identity. You already know what to do. The question is whether you'll start building the evidence today. Subscribe to Untamed Mind for the full framework. The most important thing you can do after watching this is not to think about what you should do differently. It's to do one thing differently. Today, before the next resource, the gap between knowing and doing is only closed by action, not by more preparation for action. Comment, execute, and subscribe to Untamed Mind for the complete framework on breaking the wrong relationship with action. Subscribe to the channel and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Every video is made with care to reach you at the right moment. This is not a coincidence. Act before you feel ready. The evidence will follow. Subscribe to the channel and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Every video is made with care to reach you at the right moment. This is not a coincide.